What it is, my channel, Peach and Grease here, and today we're going to be taking a look at all of the new animals that the Heart of Deimos have brought to the game. Now we have two new animals, the Predacite and the Vocalphyla. The Predacite being more of an infested dog and the Vocalphyla being more of an infested cat. Although, as some of my viewers rightly pointed out, it looks, even the Vocalphyla looks more like an infested dog or a fox. And while I agree, for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to call it an infested cat in this video, especially since it uses the cavat noises and movements. So we're going to start this off with the most common Vocalphyla you're going to find out on the Cambion Drift, the Sly Vocalphyla. Now what you need to know about this guy right here is when he takes fatal damage, he doesn't die. He actually de-evolves into a larva state, and while in that state, he actually boosts the owner's evasion by 20% for 8 seconds when they kill an enemy. Now after about 30 seconds, it will respawn itself. The other ability that it has is, while active, it will also boost the owner's evasion by 40% until the next attack or after 8 seconds when they kill an enemy. So that's pretty much everything there is to know about the Sly Vocalphyla. Now let's talk about the next Vocalphyla, and that is going to be the Panzer Vocalphyla. There you are. Alright. Now this guy right here is the Panzer Vocalphyla. What you need to know about him is when he takes fatal damage, he also de-evolves into a larva state. Doesn't die. But even while in that larva state, he will actually shoot quills that actually do 60 viral damage each. After about 30 seconds, it respawns itself as well. The other ability that it has when it's actually up and around is that it shoots 6 quills at enemies that are within around 20 meters, and those deal about 60 viral damage each. Now, there's a 40% chance that those are going to proc viral, and if they do, it adds a spore. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about the Panzer. These are probably the an uncommon Vocalphyla, not as common as the Sly, but certainly more common than the next Vocalphyla we're going to talk about, the Crescent. Alrighty, so this guy right here is the Crescent Vocalphyla. What you need to know about him is, just as this other two Vocalphylas, this one, when it takes fatal damage, doesn't die. It de-evolves into a larva form. And even in that form, it will actually charge enemies, dealing 100 puncture damage. And after about 30 seconds, it will respawn on its own. While the Crescent is up and active, it will also charge enemies within 10 meters, dealing 200 puncture damage, and it will also lift the enemies that it hits for 8 seconds. When they are lifted like that, of course, damage is amplified for 100%. So that's all three of the Vocalphylas. Let's take a look at the Predacites now. Now these are like the big infested dogs. And we're going to be talking about first the vizier Predacite. The vizier is actually really common. You should have no problem getting a vizier Predacite. They're all over the doggone place, pun intended. Alrighty, so this dude is the vizier Predacite. What he does is he actually spits acid at enemies that are within the range of about 30 meters. It blinds them for 12 seconds, plus deals 120 corrosive damage. The other thing that this dude does is he actually releases a trail of spores about every 8 seconds that heal itself as well as its owner and any allies in the area for 300 health over 5 seconds. So that is the vizier Predacite. But let's take a look at the pharaoh. Now the pharaoh is the second most common, or I guess you could say uncommon in this case. Here is the pharaoh. And you can get an idea of why they called it the pharaoh, because it certainly looks like that typical pharaoh, Egyptian pharaoh type of helmet. Anyway, I digress. So the pharaoh actually releases a big cloud of spores about every 6 seconds, and this increases toxin damage by about 100%. It also transmits like this little octopus-looking parasite to enemies within 30 meters. And then it has these little, kind of picture an octopus tentacles, and it actually clings to enemies within 5 meters. It slows them down, and the further that the enemies move away from it, it actually hits them for 20 viral damage a second over 5 seconds. And so that is the Pharaoh Predacite. Now, let us take a look at the final Predacite and the, I hesitate to call it rare, but the most uncommon, the medjay Predacite. All right. And this guy is the medjay. Now, what you need to know about the medjay is he's really a finisher attack type of pet. And so basically he will finisher attack an enemy, dealing 200% finisher damage, obviously, and it also inflicts the target with 4 pustules that will react to damage. The other thing this guy does is he charges enemies within 30 meters, and that deals 160 damage, but at the same time, it releases spores, stunning them within 16 meters for 3 seconds, which will help you perform finishers on them. So that is all 6 of the animals and everything you need to know about them. Hopefully you found one of interest, or maybe a couple of interest. Let me know down in the comments section. And until next time, peace out.